Have you ever wondered why, despite all the talk of equality, independence, and freedom, so many women still respond with a different kind of energy when they meet a man who doesn't ask for permission to lead, but simply does? Imagine this: you're out with a woman who's been testing you all night with little remarks, pulling away, laughing with the guy at the next table just to see your reaction. Most men shrink in that moment, unsure, playing it safe, trying not to come off as controlling. But here's the uncomfortable truth you need to hear: she doesn't want safety from you. She doesn't want diplomacy. She doesn't want another man carefully tiptoeing around her moods. What she craves, what psychology rarely dares to admit, is to feel the weight of a man who doesn't bend, who doesn't beg, who can command her attention without raising his voice. You've felt it before. That look she gives when you cut through her sarcasm with calm certainty instead of feeding it. That shift in her posture when you refuse to explain yourself for the 10th time. It's not aggression she responds to, it's presence. That subtle but undeniable signal that you will not collapse under pressure. And this is where men today get it so wrong. You've been conditioned to think that conquest means domination, control, or force. But in reality, the kind of conquering women respond to isn't about hurting them. It's about stripping away their power to manipulate you. Think about the times you failed at this. She started pulling away, replying slower, acting cold. What did you do? You probably chased. You called again. You asked what was wrong. You explained, justified, pleaded. You thought that showing her you cared would bring her back. Instead, it killed attraction. Why? Because every desperate word signaled you had given her the throne. She was the queen now, and you were the servant begging for her approval. The more you gave, the less she respected you. The more you explained, the less she trusted your strength. Here's what you need to understand: many women test because they want to feel where the edges of your frame are. They want to know if you're solid, or if you can be bent with the slightest pressure. When you cave, you're not showing love, you're showing weakness. And weakness, in the psychology of attraction, reads as danger. Not physical danger, but emotional instability. She can't relax into you if she feels she's the one leading the dance. So what does it look like to truly conquer in this dynamic? It looks like silence when she tries to bait you into arguments. It looks like amusement when she threatens to pull away. It looks like calmly standing up, saying "I'm heading out," when her mood shifts into a tantrum. And most of all, it looks like indifference when she tries to weaponize withdrawal. Instead of chasing, you mirror that distance. Instead of panicking, you keep living. You break the psychological trap by refusing to play the game. That's what makes her return, not your begging. The truth psychology hides is that deep in her subconscious. Attraction is tied to surrender, but not to every man. Only to the man who proves he doesn't need her validation. Conquest, in this sense, is not about taking. It's about earning that surrender by standing unshaken. When she realizes she can't control you with silence, with jealousy, with passive-aggressive games, she feels something shift inside. She feels the safety of your strength. She feels the thrill of being around a man she cannot move off-center. And whether she admits it or not, that's the moment she starts to respect you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't this manipulative too? Isn't this a game? No, manipulation is when you bend yourself unnaturally to get a result. Power is when you stay true to your center and let her choose to step into it or walk away. Most men never give women that choice because they're too afraid of losing her. But here's the paradox: the moment you stop fearing that loss is the moment she feels like she could lose you. And that's when the dynamic flips. So the practical strategy is simple: stop rewarding negative behavior. Don't chase when she pulls back. Don't justify when she accuses. Don't play therapist when she withdraws. Your weapon is indifference. Your shield is calm certainty. Your strength is silence. The less you need her to act a certain way, the faster she comes back aligned. Not because you forced her, but because you created the one thing she actually desires, a man who cannot be conquered. Have you ever recognized yourself in this exact situation? What happened when you chased instead of staying centered? Which one of these toxic behaviors have you faced before? Silence, withdrawal, jealousy games. And what's the hardest part for you about walking away when you know she's trying to manipulate you? Picture this: she's sitting across from you, arms folded, eyes darting away. She sighs, mutters nothing when you ask what's wrong, and retreats into her phone. Most men panic in this moment. They lean forward, soften their tone, ask again, "Are you sure? Did I do something? Please, just tell me." What they don't realize is that this is the very reaction she was fishing for. She wasn't looking for your answers, she was testing your anchor. She wanted to see if she could yank you off balance with her silence. And the moment you bit, she knew she could. That is the secret battlefield where attraction is won or lost. You've been told since childhood to be nice, to resolve conflicts, to always explain yourself. But in the psychology of relationships, over-explaining is blood in the water. It signals uncertainty. It signals that you need her to reassure you, when, in fact, it should be the other way around. Think back to the times you leaned into softness when she turned cold. Did it ever solve anything, or did it usually make her colder? She felt your desperation, your hunger for her approval, and subconsciously it turned her away. Here's the cruel paradox: the colder she gets, the warmer you want to be. The more she pulls away, the more you want to close the gap. But every time you close it too fast, she loses respect. Because in her subconscious, a man who can't hold his own frame is a man who can't hold her. She doesn't want to admit that out loud. In fact, she may not even know it consciously. But her behavior doesn't lie. Let me make this clear. Women don't test you because they hate you. They test because they want to feel the edge of your presence. Imagine her like a climber on a cliff. She doesn't want the cliff to crumble under her handholds. She wants to know that when she pushes, it's solid. Your strength, your refusal to collapse is what makes her feel safe enough to let go of her guard. So when she pulls away, don't chase. When she sighs and says nothing, don't beg her to open up. When she throws the first bait of jealousy, don't bite. The winning move isn't more words, it's fewer. It's letting silence hang in the air without flinching. It's shrugging and returning your focus to what you were doing. It's calmly standing up and walking away if the energy turns toxic. That is what she secretly wants to see if you have the courage to be unmoved. I'll give you a scenario that may sting. A woman tells you she needs space. Most men immediately panic. They write long paragraphs, ask if she's leaving, beg for clarity. Do you know what happens next? She feels suffocated. She convinces herself you're too needy. And often, she runs. But the man who hears "I need space" and simply nods, disappears into his life, and doesn't chase. He's the one who makes her question herself. Days later, she'll return, softer, curious, testing again, but now with respect. Why? Because she realized she wasn't the one in control of the frame. Your challenge is to kill the instinct that tells you to repair her mood. That's not your job. Your job is to embody stability. That's the paradox of attraction. The less you chase, the more she comes back. The less you try to fix her storms, the faster they pass. When you meet manipulation with indifference, you rob it of its power. And here's the truth. Most men don't want to face sometimes. She's not pulling away because she's hurt. She's pulling away because she wants to feel if you'll collapse. This is the unspoken dance. She'll never admit it, but deep down, She's watching for cracks, and if you stand calm, she feels something stir inside that she can't control respect. So here's the strategy you must tattoo into your mind. Do not explain yourself more than once. Do not chase when she withdraws. Do not reward coldness with more warmth. If she pulls away, mirror it without anger. If she goes silent, let the silence stretch until she breaks it. If she tries to spark jealousy, laugh and move on. Every time you stay rooted, you build value. Every time you crumble, you lose it. The man she can't conquer is the man she will chase, not because she's weak, but because surrender is only thrilling when it's earned. You don't earn it by begging. You earn it by refusing to bow. Have you ever caught yourself explaining too much just to win back her mood? Did it ever work, or did it only make her colder? And be honest, when was the last time you chased when she said she needed space? What happened after? Some women won't test you with silence. They'll test you with fire. They'll pick fights over nothing, accuse you of things they don't even believe, raise their voice just to see if you'll raise yours. And here's where most men fail. You think the battle is about the words being exchanged, but it never is. It's about whether you lose your frame or hold it. The shouting, the accusations, the eye rolls. None of it is really about the subject she's bringing up. It's about the emotional energy behind it. She's pressing against you, pushing to see if you'll break. Think about the last time a woman came at you with anger. Did you meet her with calm silence, or did you step into her storm, matching her energy, raising your voice to prove your point? If you did, you already know how it ends. No one wins. She storms off. You feel drained, and attraction bleeds out of the connection. But let me tell you something that psychology doesn't say out loud. She doesn't actually want to win the argument. She wants to lose to a man strong enough not to be dragged into it. Picture it. She throws words like knives, but you don't flinch. You let her rant, you breathe, you keep your tone steady, you don't feed the fire, and you don't try to logic her out of it either. Because here's the truth, you cannot reason someone out of an emotional storm. All you can do is refuse to be pulled into it. And when she realizes her fury doesn't move you, something shifts. The fire burns out. And in the silence afterward, she feels what she couldn't put into words, safety. This is why women are drawn to men who can be unshakable in the face of chaos. It's not about dominance in the cartoon sense, it's about stability. You become the rock she can crash against without fear that it will crumble. And ironically, that's when her sharpest edges soften, not because you tamed her with force, but because you showed her there was no need for force at all. Now, here's the tactical application. When she provokes you, your first rule is this: never raise your voice. The second rule: never defend yourself repeatedly. Say it once, calmly, and leave it there. The third rule: don't match chaos with chaos. If she's shouting, you speak lower. If she's demanding answers to accusations that make no sense, you calmly say, "I'm not going to argue with nonsense," and disengage. If she follows you, stay calm. If she storms away, let her. When she comes back, your frame should be exactly where it was steady, unshaken. That's the real conquest, not over her, but over your own instinct to fight back just to prove something. Because here's the raw truth: when you fight with her to prove you're right, you're secretly admitting that her opinion has power over you. You're saying, "I need you to see me a certain way." That's weakness. But when you stay calm, you're sending a different message: I don't need to prove myself. You can rage, but it doesn't move me. That's strength. And she feels it, even if she doesn't admit it. This is why women sometimes start fights out of nowhere, especially when things feel too calm. It's not because they enjoy drama, it's because they want to feel where your limits are. They want to test the walls of the fortress. And if you collapse, they know the walls were paper thin. But if you stand, silently unbothered, the fortress becomes a place she trusts. Don't misunderstand me. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect endlessly. If the storm never ends, you walk. You don't reward chaos that never calms. But the majority of the time, it's not about disrespect. It's about the need to feel your steadiness. She's not conscious of it, but her attraction is tied to it. And your job isn't to lecture her into peace, it's to embody it yourself. So the next time she comes at you with fire, don't think, I need to win this fight. Think, I need to win myself. Because the man who wins himself always wins her respect. And the man who loses himself, even if he wins the argument, loses her attraction. That's the hidden truth. Psychology won't tell you it's not the fight that matters. It's who remains centered when the dust settles. Now ask yourself this. When was the last time you got dragged into a fight that didn't even matter? Did raising your voice ever bring peace or just more distance? And deep down, do you realize how many of your arguments were never about the issue, but about her trying to feel your strength? Now let's talk about the subtler battlefield, the one most men don't even realize they're standing on. It's not her silence, not her anger, not even her jealousy. It's her charm. The way she smiles, leans in, makes you feel like the only man in the room, then slowly starts pulling back her energy once she senses you're hooked. This is the most dangerous trap because it doesn't look like a test. It feels like affection, but hidden underneath is the same game she wants to know if your frame depends on her attention. Think about it. You've been in that situation before. She was warm, affectionate, maybe even clingy. You felt powerful, desired, on top of the world. Then out of nowhere, her warmth cooled. The text slowed down, the compliments faded, and instead of staying steady, what did you do? You panicked. You started giving more attention, more reassurance, more effort to bring back the version of her who made you feel like a king. What you didn't realize is that by chasing her warmth, you revealed the truth she had the power to make or break you. This is the invisible conquest most men never see. She isn't asking if you can handle her anger. She's asking if you can handle her love without becoming addicted to it. That's why so many women start relationships hot and heavy, then gradually retreat. They don't consciously plan it, but subconsciously they want to see if the man collapses when the affection slows down. Because the man who collapses shows he wasn't strong to begin with, he was just high on her attention. Here's the brutal truth: if you need her affection to feel like a man, she will lose respect for you. Attraction isn't built on what you do when she's pouring love on you. It's built on what you do when she withholds it. That's when your true strength is revealed. So what does that strength look like? It looks like this when she pulls back. You don't chase. You don't beg for reassurance. You don't flood her with texts asking if something is wrong. Instead, you stay consistent. You keep living, keep working, keep building. Your attention doesn't shrink or expand based on her mood. You give because you choose to, not because you're afraid she'll leave if you don't. That's how she knows you can't be conquered, not with silence, not with anger, not even with love. And here's the paradox: the less you cling to her affection, the more freely she gives it. When she senses you don't need her validation to stay strong, she starts wanting to give it again. That's the dance most men never master. They think the way to keep a woman's love is to feed it constantly. But in reality, the way to keep it is to stop depending on it. Let me give you something tactical you can use right now. The next time she suddenly gets distant, your instinct will scream at you to fix it, resist it. Instead, match her energy calmly. If she takes longer to reply, you take longer too. If she cancels plans, don't pout, make your own plans. If she seems distracted, don't ask what's wrong 5 times, just give her space and keep moving forward. Do not reward withdrawal with pursuit. Do not reward indifference with more attention. That's how you flip the dynamic without saying a word. Because here's the deeper truth: women don't just want a man who can lead, they want a man they can't destabilize. A man who stays rooted no matter what kind of storm she brings. The storms might be silence, fire, or charm. But the test is always the same: can you stay in control of yourself? Or will you hand her the power to define who you are? If you crumble when her affection fades, she'll see you as a boy, not a man. But if you stay steady, she feels something she can't fight: respect. And respect is the soil attraction grows in. Without it, nothing lasts. So ask yourself, how many times have you grown addicted to a woman's affection, only to lose yourself when it cooled down? When was the last time you overinvested, thinking it would bring back her warmth, only to find it pushed her further away? And most importantly, can you imagine how different things would be if you stopped depending on her love to confirm your worth? There's one final layer to this, and it's the one most men never dare to face. It isn't her silence, her anger, or even her charm, it's your fear. Fear of losing her, fear of being alone, fear that if you don't bend, she'll walk away and prove you weren't enough. That fear is the leash around your neck, and every time you act from it, you hand over your power. The truth is harsh but simple: as long as you fear losing her more than she fears losing you, you are already conquered. Think about how many of your past mistakes came from this one fear. You tolerated disrespect because you didn't want to rock the boat. You over-explained because you couldn't stand her silence. You gave too much too soon because you were afraid she might choose someone else if you didn't. Every action you thought was loving was actually fear in disguise, and fear never inspires attraction, it kills it. She doesn't want to feel your fear, she wants to feel your certainty. Here's the paradox: when you finally accept that you can lose her, you stop acting like a slave to her moods. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's the quiet knowing that you don't need her validation to stand tall. That's what makes a man magnetic. Because when you can walk away, she feels the weight of your presence in a way she never did before. She realizes she can't manipulate you, can't destabilize you, can't make you beg. And in that realization, the surrender she hides deep inside finally awakens. This is why psychology rarely tells the full truth: women don't consciously want to be conquered. They want to feel what it's like to be around a man who can't be conquered. That's the difference. It's not about overpowering her, it's about proving you cannot be overpowered by her storms, her games, or her charm. That's the essence of masculine strength in relationships. Not force, not begging, not control, just presence, calm, and indifference to manipulation. So the strategy that will change everything for you is this: stop negotiating for respect. You don't beg for it. You don't explain your way into it. You don't fight for it. You command it by embodying strength. That means walking away when boundaries are crossed. That means staying silent when she tries to bait you. That means keeping your mission, your purpose, your life bigger than any single woman. When she sees you won't trade your dignity for her approval, that's when she feels the pull she can't explain. And if she leaves, let her. Because here's the final lesson: the man who fears her leaving will always live in chains. But the man who can let go is the one she never truly escapes. Detachment doesn't make you heartless, it makes you untouchable. She may test, she may push, she may even walk. But in the end, she'll remember one thing above all else: you didn't break. And here's the line you need to carry with you: she didn't break you. She revealed what you were too afraid to protect.